Today's topic is going to be, are you a risk taker? Uh, how, how easy is it for you to make a decision? Well, in life, we have two options every time that we decide to do something. Uh, Okay, here we are. I'm so sorry. All right. So whenever we have to make a decision about anything, we have two ways. We can decide to stay the course or to take a risk. How easy is it for you to make a decision?
It depends on if it's a really important decision or if it's only something that does not move my entire lifestyle, I think.
Something that does not suppose any big change.
Yeah, but a risk, I think, refers to the greater ones.
Yes, that's it. And for you, what are those situations? The ones that suppose any risk.
Um, it may be when I'm trying to change from another job.
That's
Yeah,
it. To get another job.
to get another job. Yes.
Hey, that's it. Thank you very much. Ivan, welcome. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How have you been? What about your weekdays?
Fine, pretty hot this week, but it's okay.
Okay. All right. So, you know what? Today we are talking about taking risks. How difficult or easy is it for you to make a decision?
Sometimes it depends, but sometimes or usually I think a lot about it.
So,
So
you,
yeah, for example, if I'm going to buy, for example, a phone, I check like three or four phones that every single detail and checking the price, the value of the phone at the end of of the day. So there is a lot of things I do before I take a decision.
many things that you consider.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. And so I want to ask you too, Francisco and Ivan, for a favor. Could you help me to write in the chat uh, the narration of the most difficult decision that you have made, the most risky situation? I don't know, it could have been to get married or to make the decision of your major, what to study, I don't know, or any other important decision you make, you have made. You know what? I would like it to be by the chat so that we can get some feedback about writing, about grammar, and about spelling, of course.
Okay.
Excellent, Ivan. Thank you very much. You wrote, when I moved to Mexico City, there was a job proposal as a department supervisor in which they increased my salary almost to the triple, but there was a lot of factors. We have to use here the plural, a lot of factors to consider. Like I just married, like, comma, I had just married a new, no, a month before, a month and a half before. The way of living in Mexico City, the cost of living, the parking, the department rental. But so I took the risk, but it was an error. My boss promised me to find a house for me, a parking spot in the job, a college paid for them for my wife, um, because paid, okay, paid is misspelled, is P-A-Y-E-D, no, P-A-I-D, for them, for my wife, because she was studying. We are missing a Y, it's S-T-U-D-Y-I-N-G. But when I finally got there, they broke their promise, not in past because it is a noun. They broke their promise. So I lost my job in Mexico City and in Guadalajara. Oh my, Jesus Christ, Ivan, it was a very difficult situation. Okay, well, it was a risk even. But yes, let's take into consideration the corrections, for example, in spelling, and some of them in grammar. Okay, so Francisco Javier, years ago I went into a difficult situation when I was in the university for the first time. I encountered myself with the decision of continue or not with back then my actual career. It wasn't easy, and of course, it was, you are missing it, it was very risky because if I wanted to get out, I knew that my parents would, because you are talking in past, would no longer support me again. So I chose the wrong way and got out of the university. I wasn't thinking with cold head, so the results weren't what I've been expected. Weren't what I've been expecting. Oh my, yes, it was a very risky situation. And well, sometimes, as you said, sometimes we can lose, but some others we can have good results. I think that, well, maybe you didn't have any good result, but we learn every single time that we do so that we make any important decision. Of course, we learned. Well, I didn't write too much. I just wrote a little paragraph. And well, the most risky situation I have ever lived was to be a mommy. I mean that it wasn't an easy decision, as I would change my life forever. Of course, at first it was really difficult to get used to do it, but by the pass of the years, by time, I realized that it was my best decision. Okay, so why don't you write now about the best decision you have made? Okay. Excellent, Ivan. Thank you very much. You wrote the best decision I've ever made. When we talk about decisions, the verb, the collocation is make. It's the best decision I've ever made was to study a career because it opened to me a lot of doors. Even I studied accountant, and my background is as an engineering, as an engineer. Engineering is the grade. Engineer is the person. I'm very skilled in computers, and of course, I don't know everything of everything yet, but I'm very good in that. I'm very good at that. So that's why I am studying as a software developer. Hey, that's pretty good, Ivan. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. Okay, let's go with Francisco. On the other side, the best decision that I have made was again to start from the beginning with my professional career and, of course, to master my English skills. It was easier to me now that I had the opportunity to redeem myself from the mistakes I committed in the past. As human beings, we have the chance, as human beings we have the chance to recover the lost time and to reborn from the ashes. Hey, that's beautiful. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Well, you know, I would like to give you some writing tips because remember that we are going to start a new week and you are supposed to be finishing the units in the platform on the platform. And so we have to work in this next week with the writing project. So when we write, of course, we have to pay attention to grammar, to all the grammar rules, to spelling, of course, how to write correctly words. And we have to pay attention very much to usage. What are the appropriate words for any topic? And more than that, also, we have to be careful of including many different grammar forms. For example, you can use passive voice, you can use conditionals, we can also include some indirect speech. And so when you include those topics to your writing, they have a major grade because they are more, well, they have more quality. So now let's try to write another paragraph, but try to include as many grammar forms as you have. For example, we can use in this topic of decisions, we can use conditionals. For example, if I had known how happy I would be, I would have decided it sooner. Well, it is an example. I didn't think too much about it, but it is an example about conditionals. And as I told you before, in this topic of taking risk, it is very easy to use a lot of conditionals. Okay, so why don't you please help me to write another paragraph, but try to use conditionals, passive voice, another example. Let's use here passive voice. Let me change the color. When I was offered that job, I I considered the the different possibilities before a decision was made. Okay, here we are using passive voice. Now let's use something about reporter speech. Let's use another color. This one. Okay. My boss told me that he would promote me, but Hey, but he never uh, um, huh, but he never considered that uh, he never considered how far I was living. Okay, all right. So here you have some examples about conditionals. Here, conditionals. Here we have a passive voice, and here we have a reported speech. Try to use those resources to enhance your writing, okay? So could you help me, Francisco? Let's write another paragraph. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. You wrote, "We are young only for a brief time, and if I had known how difficult the life as an adult could be, I would have tried." Here we need a comma. Could be, comma, "I would have tried to be more responsible. Time has passed, and some good day a person contacted me to offer me a job. They were so considerate that I was really happy. They were so considerate that I was really happy, almost to the point of crying of happiness. Oh, so beautiful. My mother said to me that she always wanted the best for me, so that I would never suffer for anything again. Wow, hey Francisco, that's beautiful. And we just mark a mistake. All right, so very good. And yes, you applied very well uh, those um, those topics. I'm looking for, yes, if I had known how difficult, this is third conditional. And so, and some good day a person contacted me to offer. Here you are using also passive voice and reporter speech. Excellent, claps for you. Okay, so now let's talk, all right? So, please tell me, have you ever been asked to give any piece of advice by anybody?
Yeah,
And what is the most important piece of advice that you have been asked?
have been asked. mm, Maybe the time when I was working at, I don't know how to say it, concesionaria de autos. I don't know.
As a car leasing.
Yeah, in a car leasing company. So my boss, I think, my boss told me that I have to be more mm, confiado en mí mismo, more
Uh, More confident,
self-confident. Yeah, self-confident.
self-confident.
So that I I would do whatever I want. So just the to be more confident on me,
On myself.
on myself and my abilities. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, that was pretty good. And you know what? Sometimes, whenever we take risks, we can have very rewarding experiences. Of course, we can have also the bad ones, the ones that make us learn from all of our mistakes. But yes, I insist, we can have very rewarding ones. And tell me, what has it been your most rewarding situation in life, apart from job and any professional thing?
Regarding, it wasn't mm, my personal experience, but when when I saw for the first time, when I see for the first time
Uh,
to my new niece, I don't know if I'm right.
when I saw it was correct.
When I saw, yeah, and I was so excited that I cried that day when I hold hold her in my hands.
Oh my, that's so beautiful. Was she your first niece?
My second,
How difficult? Oh, no, no. How different? How different was it from the first time?
the first time I wasn't really that present. So the second one, my sister lived with me,
Ah,
so I saw her suffering the drawbacks of the pregnancy.
mm-hmm.
So it was so rewarding.
Wow, so beautiful. Those are the experiences in life that makes that everything worthwhile, that everything is nice and important. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
All right. So, you know what? I think that uh, whenever we have somebody new into our lives, it can also be a risk because sometimes we expect some things from people. You made me remember a time when my little daughter, well, now she's not little, she's 20, almost 27 years old. She's a mommy, she's a professional, she's married. But when she was 7 years old, she was so serious. And she came to me with a paper and a pen in her hands. And she asked me, Mommy, please tell me, what will I be? What will I do when I grow up? And so I said, I don't understand you, baby. What do you mean? And she told me, well, what I mean is that I want you to tell me what I will study. And in that moment, I had many different ideas in my mind. And I said, a teacher. She will be a teacher. But suddenly I thought that maybe it was not her best. Maybe she wouldn't be as happy as I am being a teacher. And so I hesitated a lot and I was very afraid of giving her a bad piece of advice. So I told her that I consider that whenever we ask for an advice, we should take it into consideration. So I asked her, would you do what I tell you? And she said, yes, mommy, whatever you tell me, I will do it. And so I thought that I should be so responsible about what I was going to tell her because for her, in that moment, that question was vital. It was so important for her, and it could make a very big impact on her. And so I also thanked God because I realized how important my decision was for her, how important my commentaries and my opinion, of course. So I thought twice and I told her, all right, I will tell you what I want you to be when you grow older, but you have to write it down and you have to stamp your signature and promise that you will do it. I don't know what you are going to say, but you have to accomplish with what you will write. And so she saw me so serious and so grave. And she turned into so serious, so that serious. And so she started writing. I dictated her, and she wrote, I, Aketsali, when I grow older, I will accomplish with what my mommy is asking me now. My mommy wants me to be semicolon. And so she said, yes, mommy, tell me what I will be. And I said, are you sure? Are you sure of what you are doing? She was afraid. And she said, mommy, no matter how you say, I think that it will be convenient for me. And so it was for me so touching because I could realize how much she trusted in me. And well, I told her that I wanted her to be happy. That was that was the obligation in life. And so she said, no, mommy, I want you to give me a piece of advice about a career. And I said, oh, no, no, please forgive me. That is not my responsibility. It's your own decision. And I can't do anything about it. You have now the engagement to be happy. You said that you would do it. I don't care if you are going to be a doctor, a nurse, if you are going to be a mommy, an engineer, any profession, any occupation is important. But you have to do it with happiness. You have to do it well, and you have to do it with vocation. And so I guess that she understood. And she said, yes, mommy, I promise. And well, from that moment, I was so happy because I knew that my daughter trusted in me. And that was so important, so rewarding. And well, I think that it is, for me, my best example about taking a risk, because I could have said something that she didn't like. I could have said something that maybe confused her so much, but I think that I did it well. And well, nowadays I am very happy about it. Okay, so please, Francisco, could you tell me your opinion about what I said?
Yes, I think you had really did it well. So your daughter have taken the best of your advice, and for her it was maybe the most important this decision that that she would take years later, and you knew that you have give her the right I don't know the right options.
Well, yes, I think that I have given them not only the trust to do things as they should, but also the confidence to make their own decisions. I think that it is very important to help people, to conduct people to make the best decision, not to infer on what they are going to do, but to help them to make it better, to make the decision, the correct
Yeah,
decision. I think it is very important.
yeah, that is a must have. So if you don't have that, you are lost, I think.
Yes, that's it. And you know what? I have seen that there are many people who hook on the decisions of the other people. You know what? Years later, my daughter had a very bad situation because she was she quit school. She abandoned school, and later on she realized that it was not good. So she was crying and she told me, "Mommy, I'm sorry I disappointed you." And I said, "No, baby, you are not doing that to me because I am not hooked on what you decide. It is your decision. So maybe you disappointed yourself, but never to me. I'm okay with your decision." Later on, she went back to school. Now she graduated. She's a sociologist. And I think that I told her the right because maybe she was suffering because she thought that I was suffering. And of course I was. But I didn't want her to see that her decision was hurting me. I wanted to conduct her to make the best decision for herself. And so, has something like that happened to you? Have you happened that you gave piece of advice and the person who you advised don't do what you advised, what you said?
I realized that I'm always the person that gives I think in my own opinion the right advice, but I don't I don't follow my own advice. So and yes, I once um, leave a situation with some friend. So she was looking for an opinion about living with with her mate. So I told her that it was a rushed decision. So she had only 2 months of no knowing him,
My goodness.
and then she wanted to live together. So I told her not to do it, but he didn't she didn't listen to me,
She did anyway. Oh
yeah,
my.
and the results were just disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Oh my. And how did you feel?
I feel more confident on myself, but also a little guilty that I haven't had or
Hadn't had.
hadn't had the chance to convince her.
Ah, well, but you know what? It is not on you because, of course, you tried to do it. You did your best, but you are not living in her brain, so it is very difficult to convince a person when the answer that she wanted to listen from you was, "Yes, do it, take the risk." She didn't like what you said because she wanted you to support her idea. Of course, the idea was not correct, but she didn't listen to you because it was not the response that she was expecting.
Yeah, but now she gave me the reason.
Yes. And even she regret, I think she may have felt some remorse Maybe she told you, if I had listened to you before, it wouldn't have happened, or something like that.
Yeah, and you have no idea how disappointed she is.
Oh my, that's a pity. But guess what? They are experiences. So of course they are very difficult to face, because of course nobody likes to suffer, but it is also a way to learn. So I'm pretty sure that she learned a very big lesson. Of course, it is a lesson that nobody would like to have. But anyway, we have all of the time this kind of learning. But it's okay. It's okay. We all commit mistakes, and we, as you said, as you very wisely said, we reborn from the ashes, no, like the phoenix bird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Francisco, you know what? It has been a very nice class. I really liked it. I don't know. How do you feel? Did you like the topic?
Oh, I liked it. Yes.
Yes, that's nice. All right. Well, I don't know if you want to say any commentary, or if you want to ask any question.
Yes. Um, Now from this week we have to start working on the writing project.
Yes, that's it. I sent
So
you the directions in an email. You have to select one topic and write some paragraphs about it. But as I told you today, try to include as many grammar topics as you are able. Try to practice the most about what you learned during the course. Of course, you are going to have problems with some topics. For example, I don't know, non-clauses. Maybe you will have problems also with gerunds and possessives, but try to use them. So don't worry if you commit any mistake. Of course, I am going to give you feedback. And so it is not so important that you get the best grade, because it is just kind of like,
practice.
yeah, it's just practice. So don't worry, just try to do it, and don't be afraid of that.
I've been having problems with specific topics from the course, like noun clauses. It's not that clear to me, but I am I am almost familiarizing with it.
Uh-huh.
Then came the the third possession, or how?
Uh,
Mm, it, it's
and
the one from Unit 5.
yeah, it
Mm,
is gerunds and possessives.
yeah, that. So in the midterm exam, um, there were other cases, and I don't know if exist a global, I don't know, rule for that.
No, no, it doesn't exist any. So don't worry. You know what? I think that we can include them in your writing project. And of course, if you are not using them correctly, I will give you feedback, and I will explain you why and how.
Okay, that's fine. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so don't worry. Well, I thank you so much for your participation, and for your attendance and attention, and for sharing those beautiful experiences. And we'll meet you next class.
Until next time.
Thank you very much. Have a
Have
very
a good
good
night.
night. Thank you.